Here's your manual for the history timeline. This will help guide you through every single application that you can use the 43 pictures of the timeline for. The large version here has in it 43 pictures plus 21 pictures for all the nevuahs that are in the Torah. Main nevuahs is more than 21. But this will take you in many steps. Number one, it will teach you how to teach children time, even for pre-1Aers and certainly first grade. And then it will take you through the entire timeline. It'll give you a list of the different props that you can use with each picture. So, for example, how to make a prop for the Migdal Bavel, or a prop for the pyramids of Shibud Mitzrayim, etc. Which type of books to put next to which pictures, like a real Shulchan Aruch next to Shulchan Aruch of Rabbeinu Yosef Karo, and the Rambam put a real Mishnah Torah, etc. So that's one walk down history that's described in great detail over here. Everything is explained. Another walk down history, as we call it, is topography and archaeology. So you have a full list in your manual of, this is just a black and white version, but you can contact us and we'll send you the digital version, which will be a color version of all the pictures of the various places of topography on planet Earth that are described. Here we've got a full description of many of the places. This is a list here of topographical places in Eretz Yisrael, in Syria, in what's today Saudi Arabia, used to be Midian, and Iraq and Iran, Egypt. All of these places have many items that are still there ad hayom that you can actually see. So we've got satellite photos in many cases of all these items, especially in Eretz Yisrael, so that you are really building a child's emunah when they walk down history timeline and they place pictures of Migdal Bavel, of Shibud Mitzrayim, of the Tigris River, Hiddekel, of the Pishon, the river which is known as the River Nile, and you've got the Euphrates, Frat. There's so many pictures that we've got today of places that are still there, Ad Hayom, from 5,000, 4,000, 3,000 years ago. So you've got a full listing of those, and then you've got the actual photos here as well, and a description, a pretty thorough description of a lot of these places, of the archaeological and topographical places that are on those pictures that you will lay down next to the timeline when you're teaching the children. Oh, look, these places are still there. The Yam Suf. Oh, Yam HaMelech, yeah, that's still there. Then we stop at Migdal Bavel and we show how Lashon HaKodesh is the origin of all languages. Lashon HaKodesh, Biblical Hebrew, is the mother tongue of all languages, including English. And we go through over 100 examples of English words that originate from Lashon HaKodesh. There are actually over 14,000 examples taken from the book The Word, which is referenced in here, and it's all referenced in the DVDs, which we'll talk about later. So in the next chapter of this book goes through how to walk down the timeline and teach the Masorah, starting with genealogy, from Adam HaRishon all the way till Moshe Rabbeinu. Of course, from Moshe Rabbeinu till now, you've got unbroken Masorah of Tariq Mitzvahs from Matan Torah. But from Adam HaRishon, you've got overlap of Adam HaRishon, who knew his eight greats, grandson Lamech, who was the father of Noach, who taught Avram Avinu for 39 years. Avram Avinu taught his son Yitzhak and Yaakov. Yaakov learnt everything he knew from his father and grandfather, and his Rosh Hashiva, who was Shem, who was also in the Teva. So you start noticing how genealogically the Jewish people have unbroken Masorah from Adam HaRishon all the way down to, right now, up to Yaakov Avinu, who taught everything he knew to Levi and Kahas, his grandson, and to Amram, his great-grandson, who taught everything he knows to Moshe Rabbeinu. So now you've got an unbroken chain of transmission from Adam till Moshe Rabbeinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu is only separated by 4 doros. All that's in detail of how to do that with pictures, illustrations, so that the children experience, that's why it's called Emunas Chushes, they experience the emunah that comes out of this particular building block known as contextual learning. It's all in the manual. The next walk down history is prophecy. That is huge. We show the children 21 major prophecies, which is part of the set of the large cards the children will get, and also the small set, which you can also get online, where the 21 major prophecies are at the back of the card. So you've got Each one of these is a prophecy. You'll be 400 years in the Midbar. Matan Torah will never happen again. You will inherit the land. You'll go into exile not just once, but twice. And the second time will be exactly 70 years after the first exile. And when you go into the second exile, the land will be desolate for a long time. You'll be spread throughout the whole world. You remain few in number, and you will always be hated by all the nations, but you will never forget learning my Torah. You will love my Torah. The curse will never be destroyed. And in Ba'achris Hayamim, you will start coming back to Eretz Yisrael. And then, of course, you've got the final Geula. And the last three pictures actually depict coming of Mashiach, Kibbutz Galias, the building of Bayis Shlishi, and finally, Tchias HaMesim. So what we will do is we'll walk down the history timeline and we'll place the pictures of the Nevuos when they were given, and then we put down a green check for when that Nevuah, that prophecy was fulfilled. And the children see with their own eyes, oh my gosh, out of 21 prophecies, 18 have come true, and the only 3 which haven't happened yet. So you're really building in the child this sense of, oh my gosh, Rebbeinu Shalom, Master of the Universe, you've got an unbroken chain of transmission, you've got an unbroken promises. 21 promises, 18 came true out of 18. That's a perfect track record. Do you think the last 3 might come true or definitely will? Well, with your track record, God, it seems like every time you make a promise, you never say Bli Neder, because you don't need to. You control time and space. You control events. So all that is in the timeline manual. Next, we have another walk down where we show the Masorah from Yetziat Mitzrayim all the way till today. And that's done with costumes, with props, it's all narrated. It's in here. Lastly, we have what's called 5/6 great turning points. And what are the great turning points? The great turning points are moments in history, and there's a story for each one of these turning points, and it's all inside here. There's narrations for it too. Turning points where Kadosh Baruch Hu, Kaviyachol, so to speak, switches his focus from whatever he was speaking about till now and switches to a whole new focus. And all that is mentioned over here. The first switch of focus is in creation of the universe. The second switch of focus is he stops, God stops talking about the stars and the moon and the skies and the heavens and the galaxies before the end of the first verse. And then for the next 31 verses, God is only focused on planet Earth and landforms and oceans and rivers and animals, birds, and finally Adam. But once Hashem starts talking about Adam, he switches focus again. This is all scripted in here. He switches focus again and only focuses on mankind. And now looks for who's going to be my tzaddik. Adam, you blew it. Noach, you didn't pray to save the generation. Oh, Avram Avinu. Oh, when I told you that I'm going to destroy Sodom, you started negotiating with me. Well, what happens if there's 50 tzaddikim or 45 or 40 or 30 or 20 or 10? Are you going to kill all the Rishayim because of those 10? And God allows Avram to bargain him down to 10. And God says to himself, you're my man. I'm looking for someone of your caliber. I'm looking for the type of tzaddik that wants to save the whole world, everybody. And so he goes through 10 tests, and Avram Avinu is chosen to be the father of the Jewish nation, with Sarah Menu, the mother of the Jewish nation. These are turning points. The next turning point is Yetziat Mitzrayim, the Exodus, and Matan Torah, the greatest event in world history. We go into that into detail. And then the walk down history with all the Nevuos. And finally, the last turning point is when Mashiach comes. And there'll be Kibbutz Galias, all the Jews will come to the land of Israel. There'll be the Bayit Shlishi, third Beis HaMikdash, and Tchias HaMesim, finally the resurrection of the dead. That's all in your manual. Included in here is a booklet. This is actually not what it looks like. It's now been included in the manual, where every single card of the 43 timelines, after we've given a list of each one, we then go through each card and give you a list of all the major events and when they happened, reflected by that card. So you can see as time goes on, each card takes on more and more information until some of these cards take up a whole page. These are just really like headlines. Here you've got already the Greek Empire and the story of Hanukkah. And the next card, just to give you like a sample, is the Mishnayos. The next one will be the Gemara. and all the events that took place in the Gemara till the Tukufa of the Goenim. And you see all these events, the dates in the event, Rambam, etc. So this becomes more and more comprehensive as you go through it. And lastly, that's also mentioned in here, and you can get the digital version so it's color, are the clocks of eras. So let me show you what that means.